So yes, we are talking about Solo now. This is the intro. So David, go for it. The Irish perspective. What is it? How was Solo?
It was pretty good. It wasn't as good as Rogue One, but it's still the best new Star Wars movie after Rogue One, easily. Like by a long shot.
So,
Okay, so
Like,
generalize.
if I could draw a graph of how far apart Solo is from episode 7 and 8, I'd have to, like, invent a new axis on the 2D graph just to describe how far apart they are.
Gotcha.
I have to find a 4-dimensional pocket in space in which to draw this graph.
So I agree very much.
So yeah, Solo's pretty good. Episode 7 and 8 are pretty bad.
I agree very much with David that once again this was a much better movie than 7 and 8. Not as good as Rogue One, still.
no.
But yeah, but much better simply because it was an original tale in that it did not retell another Star Wars movie. That's my
Exactly.
feeling.
It did kind of, no, so now getting on to why it's not the best ever.
Mm-hmm.
It did kind of retell a pretty bland story, though, overall.
A meme, yes. Sort of a, yes. I'm going to say, it's not truly unique, but at least it didn't retell a previous Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
So overall, I agree pretty much with those thoughts. Definitely better than 7 or 8. Not as good as Rogue One.
No.
But overall, definitely a fairly good movie. Some of the things that I liked about it, definitely the droid didn't make you want to kill yourself.
True. Good droid. Good droid is always essential in a Star Wars movie, I think.
Not quite Rogue One quality, but, I mean, it wasn't C-3PO.
Yep.
Hey, you know, there's that.
Didn't beep like R2.
No. Let's see. What else was not shit in this movie?
I personally enjoyed the homages to Lando's cape.
That was true.
I truly did.
That was a skilled homage.
Yeah, it was quite nice.
I do think that the little sort of touches that reference the other movies were actually better done in this than in Rogue One. Mm-hmm. Just because there weren't any like CGI people, which really, honestly, if there's one thing that ruins Rogue One for me, I do like that movie. If there's one thing that ruins it, it's like the CGI Princess Leia and Tarkin. Right. They don't look like people.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Fair.
Yeah, so I did like that they did
So it was like a subtle thing you could do, like the fact, like, Lando for some reason in every movie is wearing a cape.
Yeah. Because it looks cool.
It does look cool. David can't see the slideshow, but it is made up.
No, it's
mostly of Lando
in his cape.
Yeah, that was a nice touch. It was just Lando was kind of this, kind of full of himself.
I thought they really nailed. Probably, I would say maybe even better than they nailed a young Han Solo. I think they nailed like young Lando.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like this asshole playboy.
Don't use that's a custom cape.
I know what they were trying to do. They had to make Han Solo be more naive because that's the character arc in the movie.
Right.
Lando is a supporting character. He doesn't need an arc.
Right.
Han Solo does, which is why he's kind of naive throughout the movie.
They did do it well. I wasn't rolling my eyes at Han Solo at that stage.
It wasn't too bad. Like I said, I'm not sure. The transition kind of to Smuggler, like it does happen within a 2-hour period. Like I didn't necessarily think. I think I always thought of Han Solo as being a little bit more cynical kind of throughout his entire life. But they needed an arc for the movie, so even the thing I don't like, I understand why they did it. It makes sense.
Yeah.
And I don't know what they would do instead of it. So.
Yeah, I was not at all annoyed at any part during this movie thinking, God, when will this end?
I would say I did like
the
naive Han Solo and that approach to it, because I think it just works so well.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, what else are you going to do? Because that's humanity right there. We're naive until we're not anymore.
Yeah, no, I think
Yeah.
it works well. It was just kind of like, it kind of goes against how I saw Han Solo as a character, but everyone obviously had their own idea.
Well, you're just saying he grows
Yeah.
up. He grows up on Coruscant, right? Which
Yeah.
is, and he's
On,
in slavery
not
or whatever.
Corellia.
Corellia, and he
Yeah.
and he's a slave from birth. So you think he would be not
Yeah.
as naive at the age that he
Yes.
was, but yet you can't start a movie back when he's
Exactly.
5. You have to start it at whenever when he's trying to get off. So he's still fairly naive.
Yeah.
So that, you're saying that, but again,
Yeah.
what else are they going to do?
Exactly. So there was one part where I did definitely roll my eyes, and that was the fact that I absolutely called the ending of the movie. The part before this came out, I said to David and I were talking about it, we were like, the worst thing they could do is have Han Solo with the rebellion, and like joining them, because he so clearly hasn't in A New Hope. And I said, David, I guarantee you there's going to be a part where he helps the rebellion. There's going to be a thing where where they ask him to join, he's like, maybe later, smirks and winks at them and then walks away. Literally the only thing I didn't get right was that it was the woman who, after he gives an awkward pause, says maybe later, smirks, winks, and walks away.
Well, that's because we have to establish that Han Solo is good.
I know, but that's actually one thing that I'm not sure they needed to do as much to establish, because that's a character arc.
It was terrible.
That's a character arc that's been done. That was his character arc in A New Hope.
In A New Hope.
So
in
that
episode 4, exactly.
That I thought conflicted with it a little bit. I think they should have probably had the ending be more cynical.
But it's Disney.
Yeah, but that's also why Rogue One is better, because the ending was pretty cynical.
It is a pretty cynical ending, yeah. But they caught flack for that, I think.
Yeah, but those are those are the reason that I hate any other Star Wars review, because they're like, oh, it's so sad.
Right, but we've established before that our taste, David, Zach, and I here, our taste in Star Wars movies is quite different than the masses.
And we'll get into that. I think we should end this video probably with us each giving a list of the Star Wars movies. Preference.
Well, they will be mostly the same list.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm gonna have a hard. There's gonna be a big middle. There's gonna be a best and a worst, and then there's a mass in the middle.
Yeah, the meh are the hard ones.
Yeah.
So just to be comprehensive about this before we move on, right?
Mm-hmm.
I want to stick to that part of the movie, because I think that's probably all 3 of our least favorite part of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
So the other thing besides that, though, that annoyed me was, first off, that character. What was their name? You think they're the villain, but then turns out it's the girl, and she's like with the rebellion.
Oh yeah,
she had a weird name.
Girl? It was she.
Yeah, the guy in the mask. I have no idea what his name is.
I can't remember.
Yeah, I think it was like something Tess or some shit.
Tess or something. It was some weird sort of.
Yeah. So anyway, like, he has one she has one actual on-screen appearance in the movie, and you don't give a shit about her at all. Like, seriously.
She's gonna be part of the rebellion.
Yeah. So then taking off the mask and it being a woman is supposed to be such a big deal, but it's like, well, it might have been a big deal if I actually gave a shit about this character in the first place.
That was something that was weird, because I thought that was supposed to be like the major villain for the movie, that they would be coming up, like screwing them over a couple of times in the movie, kind of like, I don't know, kind of like Belloc was to Indiana Jones in Raiders of the Lost Ark. Like, he turns up to say, what was previously yours is now mine.
Yeah.
And then they're like, well, that asshole.
Yeah. But so I mean, that was an odd. Well, that, and Zach pointed out the existence of hyperfuel.
Yeah, that's
we've never heard of hyperfuel
that's
in any of the.
That's something that's stupid that I understand why it's there. We've never heard, like, if you're watching these movies in the order they came out, we're in movie what, like 11?
Yeah.
And it's like hyperfuel. Why?
That's what they use? Oh, okay. I thought it was a fusion, whatever. And apparently they use hyperfuel.
Apparently it's very important, and no one has ever mentioned it up until now.
It's really expensive, and now we're just
even fuel issues were a thing in episode 8, but even they didn't name it, I don't think. No. But there's like a specific name for it. They keep calling it. it makes it even more clear because it wasn't in the previous ones that it's a MacGuffin, and obviously stories are going to need something to drive the plot forward, something they're trying to get, but you want to disguise that it's just a MacGuffin as much as possible. And they really don't do that. Like,
no, it's just like, now we're going to have this thing, and it's really
they may as well just been like, oh,
and we're calling it hyper.
Kessel, they mine the plot device. Once we have the plot device, we can take it to the place that it is driving us.
Oh, and another lazy thing we can transition to there, when they're escaping Kessel, they get stopped by an Imperial blockade.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
So the thing is, so this is the other thing that me and you were talking about that we hoped they wouldn't do, is they would try to shoehorn in a reason why we should still think the Empire's bad.
Yeah.
So I remember it was this terrible throwaway line that something Tef said again, where it was like, oh, this criminal gang, who are the actual villain of this movie, this criminal gang is going to keep terrorizing people. Oh, and by the way, it's like permitted by the Empire or something. So they're both really bad.
Yeah.
I perceived that more as a reason, not so much to say that the Empire was bad, but more as a reason to explain the line in A New Hope where she makes the Kessel Run in less than 12 parsecs.
Well, yeah, obviously.
I mean, so we had to actually watch the run.
Yeah, there were other ways you could do it. Like, they could have had a harder time taking off.
Yeah, so like,
if they say they were running out of time, like, they didn't have time to make the run normally. Like, that could have just been why they needed to make the Kessel. They needed to go off.
Yeah. But, yeah.
That was another thing
Why did it have to be an Imperial ship blocking them? Because, like,
I
it wasn't the Empire running that
much. When I saw that, I was like, oh, this is plot device.
And staying on that same issue, actually, I thought it was getting better. One of the things I like to see most was when he actually signed up for the Imperial Navy, and it's not like some evil Imperial officer. It's literally just a guy at a desk who's basically pretty nice to him, really. It's like, oh, and then they switch. I thought that was great, and then they switched directly over to them being on a planet and Han Solo mouthing off about how, it's someone else's planet and they're just there to conquer it or something like, oh, by the way, Empire is, generically evil.
Yeah.
Again.
So not buying it.
I thought there could have been a little bit more done with that. Like, maybe it would have been nice also because they say he's the best pilot around. Obviously, that's the thing. But we never see him training to become a pilot. I think it would have been more nice if we saw him actually in the Imperial Navy, training to be like a TIE fighter pilot, and then basically being like Maverick, being an asshole, and then getting kicked out.
Yeah.
And finding
everything
himself.
up until the part where they fast forward to him, boots on the ground in the backfield, was great. Then once that happens, they went the wrong direction.
Yeah, I would have said.
Yeah,
I would have done that.
I thought that too. I thought, why is he boots on the ground?
Yeah, and then they just say, oh, he was kicked out of the Navy for insubordination. I'm like, well, that would have been better to see than this.
Yeah.
Because now,
why didn't they show that? They show him mouthing off against the guy on the ground. Why couldn't they show him mouthing off in the academy?
And then the thing that made it even more confusing.
He could have run into those mercenary guys in the academy.
True.
Another thing is, like, I literally didn't know if Han Solo was supposed to be a good pilot or not, because he keeps talking about, like, I'm the best pilot around, but up until like halfway through the movie, we've never seen him fly a ship.
The other guy, he just tells everybody, and we've never seen him
I actually was wondering if they were going to do something with that where he's actually a shitty pilot. But they didn't. He's just the best, but we never saw that. And I wonder if, because I know the director had some problems, I'm wondering if there was some stuff in the Academy that just got cut.
Yeah.
Like with Rogue One again?
Yeah.
I really hope not.
Because I like Ron Howard as a director.
Yeah.
I like his movies. I feel like if he had free reign, he could have done a better job with this.
Yeah. Done more,
like
maybe.
Anything wrong with it, I'm going to blame on production, on producers, than I am on Ron. Because I like Ron.
It is nice that we have that excuse.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah. He could have done a shitty movie, that's true. I mean, not everybody's perfect all the time. But in general, I like Ron Howard stuff.
Yeah.
I do.
So yeah, what else do we have to talk about?
Yeah,
we can talk about the thing I laughed most about in the movie. The thing that I think confused the most people in the theater. Darth Maul is in the movie.
Oh yeah. Oh my God. What was that?
So,
What was
oh
that?
my god.
Only because Zach had prepped me beforehand with
Oh,
talk of the animated series did I know that Darth
Yeah.
Maul lived through the thing, and then I'm like,
And
he
even
becomes
then-
the criminal.
And even then,
syndicate?
we were talking afterward, you were trying to work it out. It's like, does this movie take place before
I'm like, is this
episode
before or
1?
after? I'm very confused. And then Zach's like, no, remember he lived through, and I'm like, oh yeah, he lived through. I remember how the hell he lived through. I don't know.
So I hope you've watched the animated series before this, because otherwise you're confused.
So David, what did you think seeing it without Zach in your movie theater in Ireland?
It was brilliant. No one said anything during the movie. I laughed to myself and looked to my uncle I was watching the movie with, and he was staring at the screen with his mouth open, like, what?
And then, did you lay the knowledge on him about how this works?
I explained to him afterwards, yes.
And he said,
It was
what?
great.
No, I was like, is that just another of Maul's race? Or
That's what I was
you know,
thinking at first too, until I saw that it was definitely
he did do a
Sith.
Jedi thing, yeah.
Oh yeah. So by the way, so Zach messaged me before I went to the movie that
yes,
this
I
was
know,
in it,
because
so
we walked
to try to get me to watch it.
We walked in
Yeah.
the door of the house, and Zach said, I know it's a spoiler, I'm telling David right now, Darth Maul.
Yeah. So I'm glad he told me that, because it was really interesting. So throughout the movie, I was waiting for it to happen, and then the fucking something tests showed up. I was like, oh, is that Darth Maul wearing the mask? And I was like, oh wait, no. And it was expecting Darth Maul to be a villain of the movie, not just a cameo or a setup for the next movie.
Yeah.
Right.
So by the time it was actually going to happen, I'd given up and thought Zach was just trolling me to try to get me to watch it. But then it happens. The scene happens. The girl turns on the hologram to talk to him, and you're watching the hologram from behind, and all you can see is a chair with these mechanical legs sitting at the chair. And I was like, "Oh my fuck, this is it! He's actually."
Yeah.
That is why I think it's interesting what you said about your uncle, because that is basically exactly why I think it was a huge mistake to put this in.
Yeah.
I know that the
Everything
cartoons
is
are technically canon now, because Disney canon is fucked up. But who normally... I mean, people watch the Star Wars movies. Pretty much a lot of people have. Very few people are watching the cartoon series. In comparison.
But I'm going to grasp on something that David said. He said, then set up for the next movie. And that was my feeling as well. I feel like they were setting something up here.
But it's not, though. Because in the cartoon series...
No, it is. There's going to be an Obi-Wan movie, and I think that's where Darth Maul comes into play.
David, Darth Maul died in the cartoon series already. He has lived and died. Obi-Wan did kill him, but they would have to do a live-action version of their own cartoon series.
I think they will.
If they
I really
maybe.
don't think that scene was. I don't think that scene was for the animation fans.
Yeah,
I think that was a
David,
setup for another movie.
I think we're just going to have to agree to disagree here, because I'm with David. They were setting something up. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is.
See,
but they're setting something
and
up.
here's why I say I'm not, because you two are giving Disney credit. That they weren't doing something phenomenally stupid for no reason.
Well,
and David, Mary, I remind you, we're talking about the Star Wars series. This isn't a good movie series.
Okay, no, that's true, but I
this is trash cinema.
I'm going to disagree with you on this.
All right.
I mean, I agree with you that
hear me out, right?
Yeah.
You had your cynical prediction about how the movie would turn out, but you were only half right, because you predicted that at least cringe moment, which they did have, where it was like, oh, maybe later. What we were actually worried about happening in this movie was that the movie would be about him getting roped in, having to help the rebellion, which didn't happen.
So what
Disney
you're,
doesn't go full cringe on these movies, so I think there's a chance.
I bet what's going to
still.
happen is the Obi-Wan movie is going to be about something completely different, but then the last scene of the movie, like the movie's going to be over, it's going to like fade to black, then fade in and show a live-action version of just the final confrontation between Obi-Wan and Darth Maul with no indication of how we got there and no mention of Darth Maul up until that point in the movie.
I
It's really
disagree. I can't wait to see an Obi-Wan movie about him tracking down the man who murdered his master.
He
and
doesn't.
the Duel of Fates will play.
Actually,
and it'll be
David,
great.
you're even giving more credit to the TV show. Obi-Wan doesn't track him down. Obi-Wan is sitting on Tatooine, and Darth Maul finds him.
Oh God, that's bad.
Well, that's shit.
Yeah. No, the whole thing, that's why the Maul thing was so amazing to me. You guys don't even know how shitty the Darth Maul surviving plotline is. It doesn't go anywhere.
Holy cow!
I
well,
think
now
it'll
I'm
go
just
somewhere
curious.
in the movies.
I'm curious as to what they are going to do.
So what I want to see is Maul, a Star Wars story.
There you go. That's what we need to see.
Now that would be a good
That
movie.
would be a good show right there. I agree.
All right. So I think the way we should. Do we have anything particular to talk about before I finish this up?
I think we hit the salient points.
All right.
No, that's it.
All right. So basically, to end this out, I think what we should do is basically list the Star Wars movies in our order of preference, but while also including the anime movie Golgo 13, The Professional.
That was the first one we watched.
The Professional Golgo
Well,
13.
what about the Irani movie? Can we not include that one?
We can include that one as well. We'll do that as well.
Oh my God! There's too many
Okay,
movies
well,
now.
that changes everything.
All right, so I'm going to give the list first. I've been kind of thinking about this. I'll give you
Okay.
guys a chance to think. So number one, best one, Empire. Second best, A New Hope. Third best, Rogue One. Fourth best, Golgo 13, the Iranian live-action film.
Okay.
Which I thought about the Golgo ones. The sex scene, the rape scene that goes on for months is really awkward in the
Yeah, it is
Professional.
very awkward. It's very awkward.
Which brings it down to fifth place. That would be the Professional Golgo 13. Sixth place would be Return of the Jedi. And then, sixth place Return of the Jedi. No, I forgot Solo. I forgot the movie we're reviewing.
Yeah, the
Sixth
movie.
place is Solo, A Star Wars Story. Seventh place would be Return of the Jedi. Eighth place, The Phantom Menace. Ninth place, Revenge of the Sith. 10th, we've got probably The Last Jedi. 11th, we've got The Force Awakens. And really, bottom of the barrel is Attack of the Clones. That movie hurt real bad. All of the last three are really bad, though.
Okay.
So which one of you two wants to go next?
David will go next.
All right.
I'll go first.
Yeah, go for it.
All right. So I'm just gonna say this right now. I still haven't rewatched episode 5 and 6 with you guys, so it's literally been years. It's not fair for me to include them on the list.
Okay.
So for the rest of this list, keep in mind that 5 and 6 are getting held off. They might be put wherever. So number 1, Rogue One. Fuck everyone. Number 2, the Irani Golgo 13.
Wow, a bold statement.
Because Golgo 13 is the best, worst protagonist in any movie I've ever seen. It's brilliant. Number 3, The Phantom Menace. And for New Hope, since I've actually rewatched that one with you guys. And I was kind of disappointed, to be honest. So yeah, I'd actually put Phantom Menace in front of that one.
All right.
Number
Bold
5,
statement.
Number 5. I'm having second thoughts now. Okay, I'm gonna put Revenge of the Sith on number 5 instead of Solo because Revenge of the Sith has memes. I don't think Solo will ever have memes.
Mm-hmm.
You know, everyone's just gonna forget Solo. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So number 6 will be Solo.
Okay.
Number number 7, the Golgo anime with where like you know a prolonged rape scene goes on for
with
like
the
5
month-long
minutes,
rape scene.
stops, and then goes on for another 5 minutes.
It's the month-long
Let
rape
me
scene.
explain that again for the audience. There is a rape scene which goes on for like 5 minutes, gets interrupted by more. Number 8.
You're breaking up.
No, we're at
You're breaking up, David.
You're breaking up, David. Go back to where you were
Can you hear me
explaining the
now?
rape scene.
Explain the rape scene again.
So there's like 5 minutes of a rape scene, which then gets interrupted by more Golgo action stuff, and then we return to another 5 minutes of the rape scene. And that's, just keep in mind, that's ahead of what I'm about to say. Number 8, episode 7. It's shit. So now what's left is, I guess, where I put the last 2. Number 9, Attack of the Clones. Number 10 is episode 8. Fuck episode 8.
It was bad.
All right.
All right. So me, I don't know that I can number them specifically. I'm going to have to go in general categories.
All right.
Sorry. Being the female here, I have to think more generally than your specific male mind.
So just sort of like great, good, okay,
yeah,
bad, awful.
I'm gonna have to. Yes. So what are my favorites? So obviously Rogue One, one of my favorites.
All right.
Also up there, and this is a very, very subjective experience for me. I am older than both Zach and David here.
Go.
Yeah.
I'm getting to that, David.
So A New Hope was just it's my experience in watching A New Hope, where it was so new and so fresh and so different. I watch it now and it's very dated. I get that, but like I still have childhood memories of A New Hope, and so it's just always kind of there in my heart as a good movie. It's Star Wars, you know. Luke is whiny. It's very annoying. I get that. But I love A New Hope.
Looks like a child molester.
Yeah, I know it is, but it's just I've got all of this like childhood and the playing with the action figures.
I love that no one in the movie has facial hair up until this point. So you're like, I'm not sure what decade this is. Then you get to the Rebel base and everyone's got mustaches.
They've got the
like,
porn stashes. And it's very 70s. Yeah, no, and I get that. But it was just like growing up. I mean, it was A New Hope. So anyway, A New Hope is up there in that great category. Right. Actually, weirdly, and I know, again, fuck everyone, Phantom Menace is up there in that great category. I really like the Phantom Menace. I know Jar Jar's annoying, but I love Liam Neeson. It's like what the Jedi should be. Liam Neeson and Obi-Wan Kenobi, Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan Kenobi, that whole master-Padawan relationship is what it should be. And I like that. So that's up there in my great categories. Then, there's the big...
Golgo 13.
Yes, of course, all the Gogos are up there. Maybe not the one with the month-long rape scene, because I'm sorry.
That one's knocked down into okay.
It does knock it down. I'm sorry, the month-long rape scene is a bit much to get past. All right, if that weren't in there, it'd be that great, awful movie that you love. But, you get that... by the creepy guy, it's a month-long rape, and what they've neglected to tell you is it's by a really creepy kind of guy, too. And, yeah, it just makes you uncomfortable, and you're like, can we fast forward through this rape scene, please? So that's down in the good, but the other Golgos, up there, even the one we haven't yet watched yet, is up there. I love the Golgos. So anyway, so in the good are a mass of them. Probably everything that I'm not going to mention in the worst of the worst. Which is, like David and Zach, which is Attack of the Clones, Episode 7 and Episode 8. Those are the 3 most awful Star Wars movies ever. And they're all just lumped there together. So everything else is in the meh good category. That would be Han Solo. That would be 5 and 6. I'm not the biggest fan of Empire as Zach is. Zach loves Empire. I don't know why. I don't find it to be that great of a movie.
Empire's pretty good.
So yeah. So that's my review.
All right. Well, I think that's the end of our long review session. Yeah. So let us know what you think in the comments, and maybe we'll do more of this. Maybe not.
Do you agree with my choice as Irani Golgo as the second best Star Wars
That's a
movie
good point.
ever made?
Post in the comments your own list of Star Wars movies in order of preference, while also including the Iranian-Japanese co-production of Golgo 13, as well as, of course, the professional Golgo 13, the anime. All right. See you guys later.
Bye-bye.